In the dry wind sweeping across the vast Egyptian desert, where golden sands stretch endlessly and towering pyramids stand against time, a silent figure lingers. He does not appear under the bright sun, nor does he stand among earthly glories like other gods. Instead, he dwells in the deep shadows of the afterlife, where lost souls come seeking their fate. He rules over death, guiding spirits through misty paths and judging those who pass through the gates of eternity. His name is Anubis, the god of funerals, embalming, and the realm of the dead. From the depths of the night, he gazes upon the world with eyes glowing like burning embers, as if nothing can escape his cold stare. Sit down here by the flickering fire, and let me tell you the story of this mysterious god, a tale filled with darkness, justice, and whispers from the land of the dead. When people think of Anubis, the first image that comes to mind is a strange and fearsome god. He has the strong, tall body of a man, but his head is that of a black jackal. His pointed ears stand tall, as if always listening to the wind howling through the desert or the cries of lost souls. His eyes glow not with the gentle light of the sun or moon, but with a deep red fire, burning through the darkness. Jackals were common animals in ancient Egypt. They wandered silently around cemeteries in the desert, where golden sand covered ancient tombs. People saw them digging through the dry earth, searching for things buried beneath the sand. Because of this, they believed jackals were messengers of death. That is why Anubis took this form, half man, half beast, a clear sign that he stood between life and the shadows. He does not wear bright and shining robes like Ra, the sun god. Instead, Anubis wears a long black cloak, the color of deep earth and rebirth. This cloak does not only represent death, but also holds a promise that from darkness, new life can begin. In his hand, he carries a sacred staff, curved like the crescent moon, filled with divine power that no one dares to challenge. On his forehead, though invisible to human eyes, there seems to be a faint glow, like the moon lighting the way in the night. The ancient Egyptians believed that Anubis was not only the protector of the dead, but also a guide, leading souls through dangerous paths to their final resting place. But where did Anubis come from? This question has echoed for thousands of years, hidden in ancient stories filled with mystery and contradictions. One legend says that Anubis was the son of the goddess Nephthys and Osiris, the god of life after death. Nephthys secretly loved Osiris, but she feared her husband, the fierce god Seth, would become angry if he found out. When Anubis was born, Nephthys did not dare to keep him. She hid the child in the darkness of the desert, where the golden sand covered all traces. Then the goddess Isis, the wife of Osiris, found Anubis. With a kind heart, Isis raised him as her own son, teaching him how to live among the gods. But there are other stories stranger than this. Some say Anubis was the son of Ra, the supreme sun god, the one who brought bright light to the world. They believed that Ra created Anubis to watch over the darkness, just as day needs night to keep balance. No matter where he came from, no one can deny Anubis' importance in Egyptian mythology. He was not only the god of the dead, but also the first to teach humans how to preserve the body after death. Because of him, the art of mummification was born, a magical ritual that allowed the soul to live forever in the afterlife. When a person leaves this world, their story does not end. Their soul begins a long journey, full of challenges, through dark and dangerous paths. They must pass through fields of reeds, where cold winds shake every blade of grass. They must face moving shadows, evil spirits waiting to drag them into the abyss. Finally, they reach the Hall of Ma'at, a vast, silent, yet majestic place, There, the god Osiris sits on his throne, his eyes stern as he looks down upon every soul. But before Osiris speaks the final words, Anubis is the one who holds their fate. He stands there, silent but powerful, holding a great scale. The scale is made of gold and black stone, shining under the dim light of the afterlife. On one side of the scale lies the heart of the dead, still red, still carrying the memories of their past life. On the other side is the pure white feather of the goddess Ma'at, the symbol of truth and justice. Anubis places the heart on the scale. His hands do not shake, his eyes do not blink. The air in the hall grows heavy, as if the entire universe is waiting. If the heart is lighter than the feather, the soul is pure, free from sin, and is allowed to enter paradise, a beautiful place full of light, where the Nile flows forever and green fields stretch endlessly. But if the heart is heavy, filled with evil deeds, the scale tilts. Then, from the darkness behind Osiris' throne, the monster Ammit appears. It has the head of a crocodile with sharp teeth, the strong body of a lion, and the thick legs of a hippopotamus. With a mouth as deep as an abyss, Ammit devours the sinful soul, making them disappear forever, leaving no trace in the world of the living or the dead. Anubis shows no emotion, no pity. His cold eyes focus only on the scale, unmoved by cries or pleas. He performs his duty, keeping balance in the universe, ensuring that justice stands firm. No one can escape judgment. The Egyptians believed that the body was the home of the soul. If that home was destroyed, the soul would become lost, wandering forever in the darkness. So they created the ritual of mummification, a complex but sacred process. Their guide was Anubis, the jackal-headed god. The priests who performed this ritual always wore masks resembling Anubis, as if they carried his power in every movement. They began by washing the body with water from the Nile, the sacred river of life and death. Gently, they removed the internal organs and placed them in special stone jars called canopic jars, each carved with the image of a small god for protection. Next, they covered the body with white salt, called natron, to dry it out, just like the desert sands. Then, they wrapped the body tightly in linen, layer by layer, as if embracing the soul within. This process took many days, under the dim glow of oil lamps in the tomb. Finally, on the outermost layer of linen, they painted large, wide-open eyes, glowing bright so the soul could see the path ahead. People believed that if the ritual was done correctly, Anubis would come. He would stand in the shadows of the tomb, his glowing eyes scanning every corner, protecting the body from evil spirits lurking nearby. He would guide the soul through the stone doors, leading them to the hall of Ma'at, where judgment awaited. Thanks to Anubis, death was not the end. It was the doorway to a new world. But Anubis was not only the god of rituals and judgment. Around him were countless mysterious stories, whispers from the desert and strange dreams. Some said that Anubis could enter people's dreams, carrying messages from the afterlife. In these dreams, he often stood silently beside a tomb, his glowing eyes staring directly at the dreamer. The Egyptians believed that dreaming of Anubis was a sign of great change, a door closing, another opening. Some thought such dreams were warnings that death was near, while others believed they were promises of rebirth, that light would come from the darkness. One folk tale tells of Anubis protecting a loyal priest of Osiris. The priest was being hunted by Seth's followers in the dead of night. As they drew near, a mysterious black dog appeared from the golden sands. Its eyes burned like fire, and its gaze filled the enemies with terror, forcing them to flee. When they vanished, the dog melted into the shadows, leaving only scorched footprints on the sand, a sign of Anubis. People believed that the god had come down to protect the faithful and to maintain balance among the gods. Another legend tells of a traveler lost in the desert. He walked for days under the burning sun without water or food, exhausted and close to death. When night fell, he collapsed onto the cold sand. In his delirium, he saw a tall man with the head of a jackal approaching. The figure said nothing, only silently gesturing for him to follow. The traveler was led through towering sand dunes until they arrived at a small oasis. There, fresh water flowed from a mysterious spring, and lush green trees grew in the heart of the deadly desert. The next morning, when he woke up, the traveler found himself lying next to an ancient statue of Anubis, standing in the middle of the oasis. There was no sign of the mysterious guide, but he knew the god had saved him. Stories like this spread throughout ancient Egypt, increasing both fear and reverence for Anubis. People built small temples near cemeteries in his honor, placed statues of him in tombs, and prayed for his protection on their journey to the afterlife. Even with such great importance, Anubis remains a mystery. Over time, the Egyptians began to worship Osiris more, calling him the king of the underworld. Anubis became his helper, the one standing behind Osiris' throne, but he never lost his role. In ancient writings on stone, images of Anubis appear everywhere, on tomb walls, in the Book of the Dead, and in prayers. Some archaeologists have found jackal-headed carvings on rocks, older than the pyramids, dating back more than 5,000 years. This raises a question. Was Anubis an even older god, existing before Egyptian civilization? Perhaps before humans built pyramids, before the Nile brought life to the desert, Anubis was already there, silently watching in the shadows, waiting for people to appear so he could guide them through death. Some legends say that Anubis was once the ruler of the underworld before Osiris was born. When Osiris was killed by Seth and then brought back to life, Anubis gave up his throne and became his loyal guardian. Even so, Anubis' power and mystery never faded in the hearts of the Egyptian people. Today, even though ancient Egypt has faded into the sands of time, Anubis still lives in people's minds. He appears in major films, standing tall with glowing eyes, making audiences both fear and admire him. In video games, he is a powerful warrior, holding a staff and controlling souls. In books, he remains an unsolved mystery. Many believe that Anubis is more than just a legend. In some parts of the Egyptian desert, locals still tell stories of tall shadows appearing near ancient tombs at night. Eyes, burning like fire, watch those who dare enter his domain. Some explorers claim to have heard slow footsteps echoing through pyramid halls, as if someone unseen were walking through the cold stone corridors. Others have felt an icy breath on the back of their necks, though no one was there. A team of archaeologists once discovered a small tomb containing only a statue of Anubis and strange footprints carved into the walls, as if he had just left moments before they arrived. Could Anubis still be here, guarding lost souls and protecting the secrets of the afterlife? Anubis is not just an old god of Egypt. He is a symbol of change, from life to death, from light to darkness. He is cold justice, a judge who never shows mercy. His half-man, half-jackal image stays in people's minds, reminding us that no matter how rich, strong, or powerful we are, in the end, we must face him. Anubis' bright eyes never close. He stands in the darkness, waiting for every soul, every heartbeat that stops. He is not only the god of death, but also a dim light guiding the way through the dark. He is a promise that from an ending, a new beginning can come. Anubis is the mystery of the desert, the sound of the wind through ancient tombs, the silent shadow beside every soul. What do you think of him? Is he just an old story, or is there still a hidden power somewhere, Beneath the golden sand and inside our dreams,